Crimes committed by January 6th pardonees after Trump's pardons and the mentally unstable drawn to MAGA. On January 20th, 2025, President Donald Trump, in one of his first acts upon returning to office, issued sweeping pardons and commutations for nearly 1,600 individuals charged or convicted in connection with the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. Describing the rioters as hostages and patriots, Trump's executive action erased convictions for offenses ranging from misdemeanor trespassing to violent felonies, including assaults on police and seditious conspiracy. While the pardons were celebrated by MAGA supporters as correcting a national injustice, they have raised alarms about emboldening criminal behavior and political violence. Reports indicate that several pardoned individuals have already faced new charges or committed serious crimes post-release, underscoring concerns about recidivism and the broader implications of Trump's clemency. Additionally, the MAGA movement's appeal to mentally unstable individuals has amplified fears about its potential to radicalize vulnerable people. This article examines the post-pardon crimes of January 6th pardonees and explores the psychological and social dynamics attracting unstable individuals to Trump's orbit. Post-pardon crimes by January 6th pardonees. The blanket pardons issued by Trump freed individuals with diverse criminal histories, including those with prior convictions for rape, domestic violence, manslaughter, and drug trafficking. While some rioters were charged with nonviolent offenses like trespassing, others committed violent acts, such as assaulting police with bear spray, baseball bats, and stolen riot shields. Since their release, several pardonees have been linked to new criminal activities, ranging from child sex crimes to reckless homicide. Below are notable cases based on available reports. Andrew Tate, child sex charges and fugitive status. Andrew Tate, 36, was pardoned after serving a sentence for assaulting police officers with bear spray and a metal whip during the Capitol riot. Prior to his pardon, Tate faced charges from a 2016 sting operation for soliciting a minor online, a third-degree felony in Texas. After his release from federal prison in January 2025, Tate went on the run, becoming a wanted fugitive. Despite requests from the Harris County District Attorney to detain him for state charges, the federal facility released him, highlighting coordination issues between federal and state authorities. Take's case has drawn scrutiny as an example of a violent rioter facing serious post-pardon allegations. David Paul Daniel, child pornography and sexual assault charges. David Paul Daniel, another pardoned rioter, was charged with assaulting police during the January 6th attack. During a search related to his Capitol case in November 2023, authorities discovered images of Daniel sexually abusing 2 children under 12. Post-pardon, Daniel remains in custody in North Carolina, facing charges of production and possession of child pornography. His legal team has argued that evidence uncovered during the January 6th investigation should be suppressed due to the pardon, though the Justice Department has not extended clemency to these additional crimes. Daniel's case underscores concerns about pardoning individuals with unresolved serious charges. Matthew Huddle, fatal police shootout. Matthew Huddle, a January 6th rioter, was pardoned in January 2025 but was fatally shot by police during a traffic stop in Indiana 6 days later. According to local police, Huddle was armed and resisted arrest, though it's unclear if he attempted to use his firearm. His death marks a tragic and violent outcome shortly after receiving clemency, raising questions about the stability and intentions of some pardoned individuals. Daniel Ball, federal gun charges. Daniel Ball, accused of throwing an explosive device at police during the Capitol riot, was pardoned while awaiting trial. Despite the pardon, Ball was arrested again in February 2025 for federal gun charges. His prior convictions for domestic violence, battery by strangulation, 2017, and resisting law enforcement with violence, 2021, prohibited him from possessing firearms. Authorities found a .22 caliber rifle and ammunition in his possession, violating federal law. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Tampa initially resisted extending the pardon to these charges, but later dropped the indictment, following a pattern of leniency under Trump's Justice Department. Edward J. Kelly attempt to extend pardon to murder plot. Edward J. Kelly, convicted in November 2024 for tackling a police officer during the Capitol riot, was pardoned before his scheduled sentencing in April 2025. However, Kelly faced additional charges from a December 2022 incident, including conspiring to murder FBI employees, soliciting a crime of violence, and threatening federal officials. In February 2025, Kelly's attorney argued that the January 6th pardon should cover these charges as they stemmed from an investigation linked to the riot. The motion for his immediate release was pending as of March 2025, illustrating attempts to exploit the pardon's scope. Unnamed rioter, reckless homicide in drunk driving crash. A 47-year-old pardoned rioter, previously convicted for assaulting a press photographer and police on January 6th, was convicted in May 2025 for reckless homicide, aggravated driving under the influence, and aggravated fleeing and eluding. The individual killed 35-year-old Lauren A. Wegner in a wrong-way crash on an Illinois highway while intoxicated. This case highlights the severe consequences of releasing individuals with histories of reckless behavior. These incidents, occurring within months of the pardons, have fueled criticism from lawmakers, former prosecutors, and law enforcement. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer called the pardons a golden age for people that break the law and attempt to overthrow the government, while former U.S. pardon attorney Margaret Love noted Trump's clemency process as chaotic and prone to rewarding recidivists. High-profile Republicans, including Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, have also expressed concerns about releasing violent offenders. The Justice Department's response and legal ambiguities. The Justice Department's handling of post-pardon crimes has been inconsistent. In some cases, like Daniel Ball's, charges were dropped, suggesting an interpretation that Trump's pardons may extend to crimes uncovered during January 6 investigations. In others, like David Paul Daniels, the department has maintained that additional crimes fall outside the pardon scope. Legal experts, such as former federal prosecutor Randall Eliason, have called the pardons an abuse of power, arguing they signal impunity for crimes committed on Trump's behalf. The case of Jeremy Brown, who remains in prison for weapons charges despite a pardon for his January 6 conviction, further illustrates this ambiguity. Brown's attorney argues that the pardon should cover his Florida conviction, as the weapons were found during a January 6 related search. Mentally unstable individuals attracted to MAGA. The MAGA movement, centered around Trump's rhetoric and persona, has attracted a diverse following, including individuals with mental instability who are drawn to its anti-establishment narrative, conspiratorial worldview, and promise of belonging. Experts and former supporters have identified psychological and social factors that make MAGA appealing to such individuals, often amplifying their grievances and radicalizing them toward violence. Psychological vulnerabilities and radicalization, conspiracy theories, and cognitive dissonance. The MAGA movement's embrace of conspiracy theories such as QAnon and election fraud claims resonates with individuals prone to paranoia or delusional thinking. Dean Jackson, a democracy and technology researcher, notes that platforms like X and weakened fact-checking on social media expose vulnerable young men to violent rhetoric, increasing radicalization risks. Jason Riddle, a pardoned rioter and recovering alcoholic, told New Hampshire Public Radio that supporting Trump became his identity when his personal life faltered, illustrating how emotional voids can fuel MAGA devotion. Sense of belonging and purpose. For those feeling alienated or purposeless, MAGA offers a community that valorizes loyalty to Trump as patriotic. Julie Farnham, former Assistant Director of Intelligence for the U.S. Capitol Police, warns that far-right groups like the Proud Boys exploit this, making members feel bulletproof after the pardons. Christopher Keene, a pardoned Proud Boy, expressed overwhelming gratitude to Trump, sobbing, "I am finally free," highlighting the emotional bond tying unstable individuals to the movement. Anger and grievance culture Trump's rhetoric, portraying government officials as corrupt and the January 6 rioters as victims, validates personal grievances. David Knoll, a Rutgers law professor, suggests that the pardons reinforce the belief among lone wolves that retribution against perceived enemies is justified. This dynamic is evident in Edward J. Kelly's post-riot plot to murder FBI agents driven by anti-government sentiment. Case studies of mental instability in MAGA. Jake Angeli Chansley, QAnon shaman. Known for his horned headdress, Angeli Chansley was sentenced to 41 months for his role in the Capitol riot. His public statements, including claims of spiritual missions and QAnon beliefs, suggest a detachment from reality. After his pardon, he celebrated on X, declaring, "I love this country. God bless America." His fervor reflects how MAGA's apocalyptic narrative attracts those with grandiose or unstable tendencies. Roseanne Boyland and Ashley Babbitt, tragic outcomes. While not pardonees, Roseanne Boyland and Ashley Babbitt, who died during the riot, exemplify MAGA's draw for unstable individuals. Boyland, a recovering addict, became obsessed with QAnon, while Babbitt, who was shot by police, exhibited erratic behavior tied to conspiracies. Their stories, detailed in reports like those from Reuters, show how mental health struggles can intersect with MAGA's radicalizing influence. Pardoned rioters rejecting clemency. Two pardoned rioters, Rachel Hemphill and Jason Riddle, rejected Trump's clemency, citing personal growth and disillusionment with MAGA. Hemphill, who described herself as part of a MAGA cult during the riot, plans to file a rejection letter acknowledging her actions' harm. Their decision suggests that some individuals, upon reflection, recognize the movement's toxic hold, but such cases are rare. Expert concerns and societal impact. Experts like Barbara McQuaid, a former prosecutor, warn that the pardons could cause a chilling effect, discouraging dissent from legislators, journalists, and citizens fearing retaliatory violence from emboldened MAGA supporters. The Proud Boys' celebratory march on Inauguration Day 2025, chanting "Whose Streets?" signals a renewed confidence among far-right groups. Police officers like Daniel Hodges, who was assaulted on January 6th, lament the pardons as whitewashing history, noting the challenge of countering denialism despite extensive video evidence. Broader implications and conclusion. The post-pardon crimes of January 6th rioters, from child sex offenses to fatal crashes, highlight the risks of releasing individuals with violent or unstable tendencies without oversight. The Justice Department's inconsistent response and attempts by some pardonees to extend clemency to unrelated crimes further erode accountability. Trump's pardons, criticized as an abuse of power by legal scholars like Bruce Ackerman, signal to supporters that political violence on his behalf may go unpunished, potentially inspiring future acts. The MAGA movement's appeal to mentally unstable individuals compounds these concerns. By offering a sense of purpose, validating grievances, and amplifying conspiracies, it draws in those vulnerable to radicalization, as seen in figures like Angeli Chansley and Kelly. While some, like Hemphill and Riddle, break free, the movement's broader impact, fueled by Trump's rhetoric and amplified by social media, poses ongoing risks of extremism and violence. As former Capitol Police Officer Michael Fanone stated, the pardons suggest that loyalty to Trump is now more important than the rule of law, a sentiment that could further destabilize democratic norms. To address this, policymakers and communities must prioritize mental health support, counter-radicalization programs, and robust legal accountability. Without such measures, the combination of unchecked clemency and MAGA's radicalizing influence may continue to endanger public safety and democratic stability. By Scott Young, aka Sin Famous Gamer.